Hello, my name is Ava Johnson and I'm Marketing Director at Ultima. Today I'm joined by Scott Dodd, CEO, and Matt Hudson, Director of Pre-Sales, for the first of our CoPilot conversations captured on UiQ Viewpoint Video.
CoPilot is just a very specific area of AI, which is really, for me, it's about leveraging the productivity tools you've got in the business already and really understanding how the AI makes that much better to operate your business. And I think it's also, interestingly, quite a familiar place to go and learn about AI. It's a place you spend most of your day, or a lot of your day, inside Outlook or inside Word or inside PowerPoint or whatever it may be, Excel. And so understanding how you can make that more productive, how you can learn to get much more out of that piece of software, but also bring in things from the outside, bring in things from the web, bring in things from other data sources that you want to plug into those things. And then this whole concept of natural language on top of it, where you just ask it questions and learn how to do prompting, is potential gold mine, but also a potential minefield, because you need to learn how to do it. So I think there's a whole raft of things going on in boardrooms today, trying to understand the risks and the upsides and the potential of it, with actually relatively little knowledge of it, right? I mean, the whole AI thing was, really took off with GPT back in middle of last year. So we're talking about months here that people have really been playing with this or understanding this. And I think that's difficult for a lot of boardrooms, frankly, to understand what that looks like. But I think it's very obvious once you get into it and start to learn about how to use it, that you suddenly realise what the potential of this thing is.
I think AI is, as an overall subject, it's really quite difficult to get an understanding of how much value it's going to bring to a business yet. And there are lots of very smart people going out and they're trying to work out specific use cases. How can I make this little thing here more efficient or more profitable or more faster or more reliable or whatever, and those things will occur across departments inside each business. But I think we're talking about CoPilot here. I think that affects all parts of the business. Every single person in the business will be affected by CoPilot or can make use of CoPilot. It's a productivity tool. And that's why Scott is obviously leading it inside of our business, because it's making sure the entire business becomes more productive, more reliable, more consistent, and all those sorts of things. And it is a tool that allows us to go from making best use out of PowerPoint and Outlook, and which in most businesses we don't anyway. Most businesses don't train their users on how to use Excel. I mean, it's crazy. It's a thing they use most of the day long, Excel or Word or PowerPoint. They don't train it, or they get given like an online report that says, go do this for half an hour and report back. But I think actually, once we get to the point where we're training people how to use those tools and then train them how to use CoPilot, we're going to see huge amounts of productivity occur. Yeah, like massive ramp up in the ability to be able to create stuff quickly, more consistently, and also make sure that people are checking their work instead of doing their work. Because at the moment, everybody just performs their function and creates a spreadsheet, whatever. But actually, that's a lot of time messing around doing things they don't need to do. Get CoPilot to do it for you, and then make sure it's okay, and then send it off to whoever needs to use that piece. So I think for me, it's all understanding each part of the business, how they're going to make best use out of it, training them how to use it best, and then seeing that productivity just like come fly in.
The learning piece is the critical one. I think that most people using probably less than 10 or 15% of the power of some of the software they're using today on the laptop. So this will at least double or treble or quadruple the amount of capability they've got to actually get some smart work from these software devices they're using. So I think a basic understanding of the core use of Office 365 or Microsoft 365 as a suite of software, it's so important that they have a base level understanding to be able to then put CoPilot on top of that to know what to ask it. So it's not just prompt engineering, as we now call it, which is what questions do you want to ask CoPilot, what questions do you want to ask the AI. It's also understanding what do you want out of this piece of software. If you're in Excel, you have to understand what it can do, what the capabilities, so that CoPilot can go and build it for you. If you don't understand what it can do, you don't know what to ask it. So for me, there's a really interesting learning there about how users need to be much more familiar with the basic concepts of what they're using on a daily basis than they are today. And I think CoPilot will then take it to another level. But you can't just go in and just ask it questions without any understanding of what you're doing.
There's a great example of that with Excel where I caught someone in there a few months ago going through a spreadsheet with first name, surname in a column. They were going through like 1,000 columns, typing the first name, typing the surname, so they could get the two separate, so they could do a mail merge into first name, surname. There's a function inside Excel that can do that for you. And if they just ask CoPilot, could you please take column A and separate the two words out, please, into two separate columns, it would have just done it. But because they don't know how to do that in Excel, they don't even know if it's even possible. It's that two bits, that training bit you're talking about, but also the tool as well, asking it, what function can I use to make it do this?
And I think it's an interesting topic as well about who's this best aimed at, because the power users of Excel or Word or whatever it might be will probably do this faster than CoPilot could do it. By the time you thought the question, somebody could have done it, created the formula. So it's this mid-band of the organization that really don't get much out of the software or enough out of the software that will be massively accelerated in doing this.
A power user in Excel will know Excel extremely well.
Yeah.
Suddenly they've got to turn around and create a PowerPoint presentation tomorrow.
Well, you're right, yeah.
And actually, right now I don't really know how to use this tool or Word or whatever. So I think
but you very rarely have power users in every one of the applications. Exactly, yeah. So I think, yeah, you're right. I mean, the other demos that we do show you creating a document in Word and then you're literally creating a PowerPoint on the back of that in seconds. And then you, of course, have to edit it. You can't trust it, so you have to make sure you edit it. But the acceleration of time to value on that is 10 times what you would do today. Then the question is, what are you doing with that extra time you're saving, right? And that's the bit that we've got to wrestle with in terms of ROI, because you're saving a huge amount of time in creation of documents, creation of PowerPoints, whatever it might be. But what are you doing with that time? So where you're talking about a marketing role, you're creating some, I don't know, graphics or PowerPoints that might have taken you ages to do, or it might have been contracted out to somebody to produce for you. Now you don't have that cost, and you've got the acceleration in time, so you've got both those savings to be had in that area. So it's quite nuanced in what roles in the organization are going to get the most value out of this and how fast. And so it's not everyone. It needs to be looked at across the board about who's going to get the benefit. Everyone who plays with this will not want to give it up once you've played with it, right? Because you'll then want to have that capability and functionality. But that's not necessarily huge ROI for the organization, right? But I think once you've got people using it in anger and actually getting real benefits and real ROI, and we'll develop those as we go forward, you'll then see you can't really take that away from those individuals because they won't be able to do the job.
So we will continue this conversation, but for today, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So if you want to know more about CoPilot, what it can do for your business, or you need just to understand what are the next steps you need to take, then watch out for our monthly webinars, or consider doing an assessment by filling out one of the forms on our website, www.ultima.com. Thank you very much.